Hello, I'm Scott Ryan. Thank you for joining me. Today I want to talk about a very serious topic. What do child predators do? Well, at least in the movies we know that they come in innocent packages. They try to gain the trust of children, offering them candy to entice them, or they come in clown suits, or as nice people, they try to lure children in and then they violate them. Right now, I wonder how much different that tactic is than what is being done in the NFL. This week, the Super Bowl will take place on Sunday, and millions, hundreds of millions of people will be watching with their families. In the last few years, especially when Roger Goodell took over as chairman or NFL commissioner, the NFL has gone to great lengths to target children with programs like the NFL Punt, Pass, and Kick, where they feature children at some of the NFL games, perhaps in halftime or at some point in the game where they compete. And they also have been pushing the NFL Play 60 campaign, putting together park recreational areas for children to play, and they're constantly promoting the NFL to children. And then they've also gone to great lengths to take away a lot of the things that we loved about the game, such as the NFL end zone celebrations, some of the just activities that were ridiculous but funny. Really, it's come to be known as the No Fun League. And the reason given for that is because supposedly it's a bad example for the children. But they have no problem violating our children. When you look at these halftime shows that they've had in the last several years, one of the first ones that I remember specifically, of course, is the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake halftime show. It was a very suggestive all-around performance sexually. And towards the end of right at the very end of the performance, Justin Timberlake grabs a part of Janet Jackson's bustier, if that's the right word, and rips it off. And they obviously that was choreographed, but for weeks the controversy circled, and they kept referring, and still to this day refer to it as a wardrobe malfunction. Now, you know it, and I know it, and everyone with any sense can see that that was choreographed, and that was intentional. That was part of the act, and that was disgusting. And then just a couple years ago, Prince was given the opportunity to perform the halftime show, and Prince has a career of very much being about sexual promiscuity and flaunting it, going back to the beginning of his career. That is not the kind of artist that you should be putting in front of an audience of 100 million plus families around the world if you respect those children that are watching. And Prince comes out with this guitar that is oddly shaped like a phallic symbol, and all doubt was removed towards the guitar solo in Purple Rain that he performed there, one of his songs. A giant sheet came up and cast his silhouette in that sheet, so it made him about 90 feet tall. And with that guitar in that silhouette, it was very clear that this was planned. And as he played that guitar, it simulated masturbation right there in front of the whole stadium, in front of my child, 6 years old at the time, and in front of every child out there. And the NFL had to know that was going to happen. Not an apology was never given. Not a word was even spoken of it. It's despicable. I'm going to post the videos of these performances at tableofwisdom.com just so you can see examples of what I'm talking about. It's really despicable. But now, I just want to warn you, and that's why I'm making this video on Friday night, the weekend of the Super Bowl, because you better prepare to have your children violated courtesy of the NFL and Roger Goodell. Because Madonna, of course, Many of us know who she is. Her career has been built upon sexual deviance. That is what Madonna is all about, has always flaunted, and has pushed the limits of decency every year in her career. I remember back in the 90s, she was arrested for masturbating on stage. Yes, this is a woman who performs for, I guess maybe at that time, teenage girls. She actually had a bed up on her stage in her concerts and masturbated on stage. She was warned in advance she would be arrested if she came to whatever town it was, that she would be arrested, and she proudly did it. And this is the skank that Roger Goodell is having perform at the halftime show in front of all the children in that stadium, in front of the hundreds of millions of children that will be watching. And be warned now. Now, the NFL has got a lot of issues. I mean, not just the Super Bowl. Throughout every season, it is just embarrassing to watch a game with your child in the house. Because every commercial, well, not every commercial, but throughout the game, they are laced with lewd sexual behavior in the form of the commercials, whether it's constant talk of penis enlargements and sexual performance drugs, or as these networks are pimping their shows, they're showing things featuring homosexuality and lesbianism and just downright lewd discussions, things that should not be seen by children. You have to sit there with your remote and wait and hopefully get off of the commercial each time. And I've complained about that. I've written about that over the years, about the NFL and Roger Goodell violating children. And I'll tell you why. Because this is their product. And they have a right to put in the contracts with these advertisers, with these networks, as a condition they are not going to be putting sexually promiscuous commercials on during their show. They have a right to make those stipulations. I mean, it's amazing if you watch Doritos or Snickers even, they are all becoming pornographic. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like Jimmy Swaggart here, and I've had my issues in my life. I'm not claiming to be Mr. Self-Righteous. I am forgiven by the grace of God for my sins. But I'll tell you what, I've got a child to protect. And I am not going to be subjecting him to the Super Bowl this year. And I think it's disgraceful. We know it's coming. I'm making this video now. Prepare yourself for the controversy that is going to ensue as the skank that they hired to do this Super Bowl halftime show does what we all know she's going to do. I don't know what euphemisms or excuses they're going to make for it, but this is a violation of fiduciary trust by Roger Goodell in the NFL. God forbid you see somebody spike a football in the end zone, but it's okay if you see Justin Timberlake ripping off the clothes of Janet Jackson, which, by the way, would be not just lewd, the fact that it was planned and is despicable in itself, but nobody even said about the fact that he would be a sexual predator. I mean, they're showing children that it's okay for a guy to go up in public and rip a woman's bra off and expose her breasts. Not even a word about that. I don't know what the hell's happening in society, but this is disgusting. And Roger Goodell, you should be ashamed. You look like a nice guy. I mean, you really do. You look like a wonderful guy. I don't know, you haven't met you, but the buck stops at you. You are the boss. It is up to you to do something about it. And when you do something about it, then I'll stop making videos and stop writing things about you. I hate to do it, but this is disgusting. And it's about time somebody speak up. Year after year, our children are being violated by you in your game as you attract them. You target them. You target our children. I long for those days, like when I was able to watch the NFL and watch the Super Bowl with my father without having this kind of lascivious nonsense. Sign of the times, I guess so. But I wish that you would have the decency to not hire somebody like Madonna, who has made a career of pushing the limits of decency. Let's get serious. Thank you for joining me. I'm Scott Ryan.